SC16, your home for everything Ithaca and National. It starts right now. Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of the SC16 podcast. I'm Matt Rahemba, and as always, I'm joined by Jonah Restuccio and Salty Steve Altieri. And today, we're lucky enough to be joined by another Ithaca College alum and also an ESPN New York senior writer, Andrew Marchand. Andrew, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So we're all freshmen here at Ithaca, and we're involved in stuff like ICTV and WICB, but we were just wondering, what kind of stuff were you involved in your 4 years here at Ithaca College?
Well, I did radio. I was my junior year as the sports director at WICB, and then I wrote for the Ithacan as well. I think at one point I probably could have been the sports editor, but I think I focused more on the radio at that point. And I did a little ICTV. They never would really have me. I tried out for Gridiron Report and all those things. They kept turning me down. I do remember one of my best friends from college. His name is Scott Lauer, and he's the play-by-play voice of the Charlotte Bobcats now. And I remember at freshman year walking in to try out to be the play-by-play guys on Ithaca football. And years later, he's like, "Hey," he said, "Like I acted like I thought I was Bob Costas when I went in there." Needless to say, I didn't get it. He was the among our friends, he was the play-by-play guy. So I did all three facets of radio, TV, and newspaper. I probably was the most involved in the radio, though.
Yeah, so you said most involved in the radio. You did a lot of writing for the Ithacan. Now, what did you plan on being before college? Like, did something at IC gauge your interest, or were you pretty set on, like, sports and radio? I mean, you became a writer, so something must have had to happen here at Ithaca.
Yeah, I always wanted, like, when I was 8 years old, I came to the realization I wasn't going to be a professional athlete. I wasn't a terrible athlete. That makes me sound worse than I was. I was all right. But I just kind of felt like I wasn't going to make it all the way to, I was a Pittsburgh Pirates fan or a Pittsburgh Steeler. I was actually a soccer player as well. So, but I knew I wasn't going to make it professionally. So I wanted to be either a broadcaster or a writer or, be involved in sports media. And so when I was, in high school, I did some things. And then going to college, I knew that's what I wanted to do. So Ithaca was, made a lot of sense for me. And they were willing to take me as well. That was another, trying to learn how to work a camera wasn't for me. I switched to broadcast journalism, and that's what I majored in. So, the big thing, I did about 6 internships during college. And that's, one thing that, I'd recommend to anybody is that, to get involved professionally as soon as you can because, the earlier you start making connections, then when, you graduate, the more potential opportunities you'll have.
All right, so moving beyond Ithaca now to when you first graduated, what were the first steps you took to make it into the sports media industry?
So this is a place that I don't think you're going to apply to. My first job out of college was with a newspaper called The Liberty Vindicator, which is located in Liberty, Texas, which is about 15 minutes from Houston, but couldn't be further from civilization. Now, it's a nice town, but if you ever saw, like, King of the Hill, it's that type of town. And so my parents actually moved down to Texas, to Houston, outside to a town called Kingwood when I was in college, a junior in college. And I was from Connecticut mostly growing up. So I was looking for a job anywhere in the country, and there was, back then, there was, a newsletter with sports jobs all around the country, and there just happened to be this one in Liberty. So I applied. My parents didn't even know where this place was because, no one would go there, on their own foolish shit. Really. Anyways, listen, Liberty, they're very nice people. I don't want to totally push them. But anyways, I went down there, applied for the job, I got the job, and I was the one-man sports editor, sports, everything there. Actually, in that time, I got calls from ESPN because when I was at college, they came to Ithaca and they interviewed people. So I interviewed for a job in programming, and they actually called me for a second interview, but I turned them down because I was at the Liberty Vindicator. I knew that was such a great place to be. But in all seriousness, I turned them down because I just wanted to pursue, being either a writer or on air, and I didn't want to go into programming at that point if I even would have gotten the job. So, the next day when I was writing about like some 8th grade middle schoolers, I was questioning myself. But I was there for 11 months, and then I went to the Texas City Sun, which is in Galveston County, and I worked there for 6 months before going to the New York Post. I covered high school football down there, and it was a very good experience, and I'll always remember it fondly.
So how big of an impact do you think Ithaca College had on you entering the professional media industry, just having that name? Because there's been so many people to come out of Ithaca. So do you think just having that name as that you went to Ithaca, do you think that had a big impact on you entering the professional media industry?
Yeah, it definitely helped out a lot. I remember Carl Ravitch coming to Ithaca, speaking at Ithaca. Eric Reed, who's the play-by-play voice of Miami Heat for years and years now, got in contact with him. And also, I just think with the, like I said, I did 6 internships. 2 of them were, one was at WFAN, All Sports Radio New York, and the other one was at WCBS News Radio in New York. And I think just having Ithaca on my resume, and with those type of internships now, the technology has changed over the years, but, they want to have people who are proficient at, cutting sound and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't know I wasn't, but I fooled them because it said Ithaca on the top of it, my resume. So my lack of skill of cutting you had to use like tape back then. It wasn't like it is now, it's digital. But those definitely helped me get in the door. Ithaca, it was. Also the other big thing about Ithaca is that, and it's just getting as many reps as you can. I mean, nowadays, you guys are doing your own podcast. It's easier to get experience, but to have some competition in terms of trying to be on the air, that's helpful. But the thing at Ithaca, and I think it's still the same way, or at least I hope it is that you can get a lot of reps between the 2 radio stations, the TV, the newspaper. You guys are doing podcasts, and I think that's really important because think about going to Texas and writing for a year and a half. That was really beneficial because the next job I had was with the New York Post as an entry-level sports position where I got to write, and I went there confident because of my background, my education, but also because I spent a year and a half writing a lot, and so when I went to New York, I was confident in what I was doing, and I think that kind of gave me a leg up on some other guys.
Now, you've had like a long history of writing for sports, New York Post, now you're at ESPN. What has been your most memorable moment ever in your professional career?
Good question. Well, last year, I think probably my biggest story I had when Brian Cashman said to me, talking about Alex Rodriguez, he told him to shut the F up. That kind of made some big waves in the sports world. So that was because it's A-Rod, because it was the GM of the Yankees. And that was, maybe the biggest story, in baseball, and if not sports, last year. So, that was a pretty big one. It happened like on my next day was my daughter's birthday, so it's celebrating that was
Perfect timing.
Dealing with doing sports and all kinds of stuff, but it was good. It was but yeah, that was good. I mean, that was one of the highlights. One of my favorite stories. When I went to the Post, I was able to write like a media column as well. Phil Mushnick, who's like a mentor to me, their longtime media columnist. I was able to write a column, and I wrote something nice about Bob Costas, and where I said something like to the effect that it's in the Olympics, and I said people don't like him. It's like not liking Einstein because he invented the theory of relativity. It's like it seems to me a lot of people don't like Costas because he's very intelligent. And so I was an agate clerk then, and that in that job you do the statistics pages, and then in those days we had racing pages from horse racing. And so Costas called the Post offices, and I'm like 23, 24 years old, and he asked the secretary to speak to the manager. So I'm talking to Costas. Costas is saying, "Hey, just wanted to say thanks for writing that, yada yada." And I'm like, "Hey, Bob, can you hold on 1 second?" So I put him on hold for a second, and it was Shirley from the Meadowlands Racing Track, and she said, "Just want to confirm you got the race results from the 4 o'clock races. And so I got those races. Said thanks. Got costume day. Sorry about that. Take that call. So he treated me as some important person, and I'm like, meanwhile doing racing charts. So that's one funny story. I got a lot of others, but those are two that kind of stick out.
So you've told us about some of your experiences. All three of us are interested in the professional sport media world, and I'm sure some of our listeners are as well. As someone who has been in the industry for over 15 years, what are some tips that could be given to us college-age people?
I mean, number one, I think if you want to go into this, you got to want to go into this. And what I mean by that is when you guys graduate, there's a pretty good chance your friends are going to be making more money than you. Might be a little bit easier. If they're, if you're a doctor, for example, you go to grad school. There's a easy roadmap. And my friends, two of my roommates, I mentioned, Scott Lauer, who does the podcast. My other one of my roommates was Kevin Connors, who's on Sports Center now at ESPN.
That's awesome.
And a variety of other things. And so, we talk about, especially Scott and I, we used to discuss, is it luck or do you make your own luck? And it's kind of funny because I think I used to say there's a lot of luck involved, and you say make your own luck. I think we've kind of switched a little bit. We haven't really discussed it in a long time, but I think that I'm more. I think you make a lot of your own luck. Not that I always felt like you had to make your own luck, but then things had to settle in. But I honestly think, having done it, is that if you have ability and you want it bad enough, you may not get to where you exactly want to be. If you want to be doing the Super Bowl, you might not do that, but you might get to a high level where, if you really want to do it. And I think that's the thing. It has to be a real passion. If it's just sort of like, that sounds like fun, and you just want to be handed something, I don't think I wouldn't recommend this business. But that's the thing. And as young people, I think the other thing is, especially now, I think it's much easier to network. And so if you meet somebody who's in the business, you don't want to. There's always that fine line between bothering them too much and trying to get advice, but it's trying to get in touch with people, because most people would like to help young people and other people, and so because it makes them feel good, because it's like if you guys make it one day and I had a hand in it, it's like I helped those guys out. So not everyone's like that. There'll be people who don't get back to you, but sometimes people are very busy and they don't have time, and I run into that sometimes as well. So, but overall, I mean, you just gotta keep getting a lot of reps and honing your skills, while at the same time, trying to meet as many people as possible. And the earlier you start, the better off you'll be.
So, switching over to the MLB now, you're one of the main Yankee beat writers for ESPN New York. And so from what you've seen so far this season, what do you think has been the biggest storyline for the team so far?
Well, it's still early, but, I mean, the injuries to Mark Teixeira and David Robertson are the two biggest so far, because, they're staying at those two spots. They don't really have a backup first baseman, and they don't have depth in their bullpen. Sean Kelly got a save, day after Robertson was hurt, and that was his first save of his career. So, the guy who had handled saves at Yankee Stadium previously, he had a few more than that. So, they're trying to replace Mariano Rivera. Now they're on their second guy, and Sean Kelly doesn't have a lot of experience. So that's number one. I mean, in terms of the most exciting stories, Derek Jeter retiring, and that's a huge thing, of course. And then Masahiro Tanaka coming over from Japan, the Yankees outlaying $175 million. That's also fascinating as well. And one that's a little less national, but to me is very interesting, is Michael Pineda, that they acquired in a big trade for Jesus Montero a couple years ago. Now he's finally back, and he looks pretty good after having shoulder surgery. So those are the ones that kind of, when Pineda and Tanaka pitching, those are the ones kind of that stick out. And then Jeter, of course, because he's ending his legendary career.
Yeah, so staying on the pitching staff, CC's 2 starts, they haven't been good, and he didn't do much in spring training. Do you think that he could possibly be the Achilles heel for the Yankees this year?
Yeah, definitely could. It's one of those things. I just don't think he's not going to be the dominant ace that he was unless something miraculous happens. With velocity, people, especially in spring training, people go back and forth. You can be successful without velocity, especially when you're a smart pitcher and a guy who has a lot of control of his stuff like CC. However, to dominate and to be the guy that he was, if you're not at 94, 95, you're not at least 92, 93, it's very difficult to do because what that extra couple of miles of velocity does is when you make mistakes, sometimes you don't get burned on them because you have this couple extra miles. The hitters are that good. So if CC can be, more of a number 3, 4 type guy, I think that's, might be more realistic, and that'd be good. I mean, for the Yankees in terms of the regular season, postseason, not to figure things out, but I don't know. I don't see it coming back. I mean, we saw what happened last year. He really was one of the worst starters in baseball, and he hasn't given us any real reason to believe that much has changed. Now, I know people could argue in his first couple of starts that, well, is it hitting here and hitting there? But that's what number 4 and type 5 starters do. They have a bad inning here or there, and that's what makes for 6 innings and 4 earned run starts all the time. So, yeah, he could be their Achilles heel, no doubt.
Awesome.
All right. How well do you see these new players like Brian McCann, Jacoby Ellsbury, you mentioned Tanaka earlier, and Beltran panning out in the long term for the Yankees?
Well, they can only think about the short term because they give these ridiculous contracts to everybody, and so they know that year 4 and 5 for McCann might not be as pretty as 1, 2, and 3. So, this is a billion-dollar business they're running in the Bronx. So when they're making that calculation, they're thinking about this year. But as a business plan, I mean, they're going to have these same problems. And Jacoby Ellsbury in 6 years, I don't think it'll be pretty. I mean, it'll be one of those things, just like the CC. Basically, all these contracts, these long-term contracts don't generally work out on the back end. You're paying for the front end. I mean, Jeter's 10-year deal worked out. Mike Mussina's deal when he came over from Baltimore, that one worked out. You could argue A-Rod's first contract. I don't think you could argue it. A-Rod's first contract, as ridiculous as it was, and he opted out before he finished it, that one actually worked out. But for the most part, these long deals don't work out. So, long term, I don't think it's probably that great, but by that point, they'll be, acquiring other big name free agents to pick up the slack. But they're pretty settled in when you think about it, because their outfield the next 3 years is going to be, maybe guys will DH, but it figures to be.
All right, well, once again, thank you so much for coming on. We know baseball season's well underway and you got a lot going on, but we really enjoyed having you on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, enjoy the game tonight.
Tell me, why is he called Salty Pete again?
Oh, Salty Steve. Salty, you want to tell him the story? You tell him.
All right. So I'm Salty Steve. So my Ithaca email. So my name's Steve Altieri, and my Ithaca email is Saltier1. So they call me Salty Steve. Not as good a story as it sounds.
Yeah, I saw it on my whiteboard. He wanted to sign up for a fantasy football league, so I told him to write his email on my whiteboard on my door so I can get it. And I didn't know who the kid was, and all I read was Salt, so I just kind of started calling him Salty, and now everyone in Park.
Everyone just knows him as Salty Steve now.
Teachers who don't even have Salty in his class.
Salty Steve. I'll say, I need Salty Steve, and when he just became Salty Steve, when it's Salty Steve and the Mad Wolf on 98.7.
Hey, there you go.
In 20 years, and you're the biggest thing in it, and you're like, all right, well, good. I'm happy I'm in at the birth of the careers.
Well, yeah, that's the story of Salty Steve. Sorry we got that mixed up. We couldn't get the names right on the Gmail, so Pete is not Salty. So.
No, it's all right. Maybe none of you guys can be Salty.
Yeah.
Well, I thought there might be a better, bigger story with that.
No, it was just his email address, just regular.
Yeah,
just underwhelming. I thought maybe there's some huge story.
No, it's just his email. No huge story behind it.
Yeah, you're not the only one to be disappointed.
I appreciate having me on, and good luck if you need anything. You know my email.
You got it. Thank
awesome.
you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
All right, man. Talk to you.
Well, that was the one and only Andrew Marchand of ESPN New York, senior writer, covers the Yankees. Really enjoyed having him on. Really enjoyed getting that perspective.
That was great.
From someone who's been, working in the media business sport media business for well over 15 years. It's really cool to have someone on like that.
It's actually really cool that he remembered that I'd tell him about the Salty Steve story.
I didn't think he was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was going to be, something that he would mention, but he knows you now as Salty Steve.
So
The
he's
world-
Salty Steve and
what? So the wolf, the Matt the wolf.
Salty Steve and the Matt.
I don't even know.
Salty Steve and the Mad Wolf or Matt Wolf or something.
I don't know
Wolf.
what he said, but we're gonna listen to that back, and we're gonna figure it out.
We're gonna make
figure
it.
that
We're
out.
gonna
We'll make that a thing on WICB.
So we're gonna transition away from baseball really quick. Last week, well, actually on Tuesday and on Monday, the UConn men's basketball team.
And women's basketball team.
I'm starting Monday. So you stop jumping the gun. I'm starting Monday.
We'll
Okay.
start
Okay.
with the.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, we're gonna start Monday.
I'm
We're
sorry,
gonna-
Coach.
It's okay, son. Just take a lap. Take a lap.
Take a
Stretch.
lap. Take a lap.
Stretch out, and come back. We'll start it from
All right,
the top.
Salty's gonna go take
All
a
right.
lap real quick.
So
See some push-ups, Salty.
the
See some
UConn men's
push-ups.
basketball team, 7 seed, they beat the number 8 seed Kentucky Wildcats 60-54 on Monday night, marking their 4th title in the last 12 years. What do you guys think of this?
That was probably the biggest surprise of a championship game that we could have expected in a while. I mean, no one really expected UConn or Kentucky to be in the championship game. Just seeing how far those teams were able to make. You look at Kentucky. They're a team that they played in the SEC. A lot of people looked over the SEC. A lot of people didn't think there was really gonna be any SEC teams making a run in the tournament.
Well,
But
we always
for
knew
for Kentucky to go out there and make it to the national championship. You got to give them a lot of credit as well.
Well, you have to realize that they played without Willie Cauley-Stein for the last couple of games, which was like their main center. Dakari Johnson had to come in. Marcus Lee got a lot of extended playing time. But throughout the season, Kentucky, they couldn't get it going after that early loss in the Champions Classic. They just could not get it going. They could not find the click. But that's what you get when you're playing 7 freshmen. I mean, it's 7 freshmen.
You can't
They're-
use that as an excuse.
Yeah.
So you chose to play 7 freshmen, and that's what happens when you play freshmen.
Yeah, some are our age, some are older, some are younger.
It's kind of weird thinking about those guys are all our age.
and they're
Yes.
like sick. And James
they're
Young's flying through
men.
the.
They look like men. They look like they belong in the NBA right now. Their guys are huge. They all have beards that are thicker than mine.
Well, except for Julius Randle's baby face, he looks like Zach Randolph.
But he also is a mammoth of a
He
player.
is a man.
I
he
think
is a beast.
If you walked up to him, he'd snap you right in half. Salt. He'd snap you like a twig.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So
But
yeah,
here's what I want to say though
right,
about
go
that
for it.
championship
Go for
game:
it.
a 7 seed against an 8 seed.
it's March Madness. What else can you expect?
All season long, we knew college basketball from day one. Back in October, people watching were saying that college basketball was very even this season, and that championship game really showed that. And the UConn, they weren't a fantastic team. I don't think they had blow you away performances, but they were good enough when they needed to be. And they
Shabazz
had
Napier?
As a whole.
They
They played
played
as a whole
good
and Shabazz
defense
Napier, yeah.
with Shabazz Napier and Boatwright.
There's two-
stopping every guard, and Shabazz played out of his
There's
mind.
3 reasons why UConn won the championship. 1,
Let's hear him.
in the first round, Shabazz Napier stopped, said, "Team, get on my back," and he ran to the championship with them. His calves must be huge after that run, but he carried them there. He must be.
Wow.
DeAndre Daniels caught on fire. He didn't have the greatest.
He didn't have a good championship.
Yeah, championship game. No, Shabazz and Ryan Boatwright stepped up though to fill the gap that DeAndre left. He got in foul trouble. He wasn't hitting shots, but in those previous games, he was hitting every 3 and everything that you could ask DeAndre Daniels to do, he did. And I don't think UConn missed a free throw in like any of the games.
That was the biggest
That-
thing.
I don't think they
that-
missed a free
The
throw.
deciding factor in that game was Kentucky missing free throws towards the end of the game.
Yeah,
That was
UConn
Kentucky
doesn't
that was the
miss
Achilles
free
heel for
Kentucky
Kentucky.
Kentucky missed 11 free throws. They went 13 for 24,
Right.
just over 50%, and UConn went for 10 for 10.
I have
Well,
to
listen,
add.
listen.
I have to add one other point that you missed though.
Yeah, go
The
for it.
4th reason why UConn won, and that's because of their coach Kevin Ollie. He is. I love Kevin
Phenomenal
Ollie.
coach.
Phenomenal
He's a
coach.
great
I like him.
coach.
I'd
But
like to
listen,
play
World
for him.
fell in love
Listen,
with him.
we see, teams that win championships. You see a few years ago, you had Syracuse. They were led by who? Carmelo Anthony. This year, you're seeing Shabazz Napier. He really put the team on his back.
Well-
No. Shabazz Napier really, towards the tournament, he put the team on his back, and he led them to that championship.
Well, you can't compare.
It was a very good. I'm not going to compare him to Shabazz Napier, but I'm to Carmelo Anthony. But
Thank you.
Listen. He was a great player. It seems like championship teams always have that one player leading the way, and UConn had that.
The last UConn championship
had
team, Kemba Walker.
Exactly.
They always have
This championship team, they have Shabazz Napier. So I mean, it
Exactly.
seems like championship teams always have that one player that's really leading the way, and Shabazz Napier was that guy for them.
Yeah, he killed it. I'm just straight up saying he killed it. he beat Kentucky. He beat Michigan State. He beat Iowa State.
And
He beat
UConn-
St. Joe's. He beat
UConn-
Villanova. He was UConn. He is a
UConn
Husky.
is the best team in the country. Better than anybody else. Better than Florida. Better than Syracuse. Better than anybody else. The
They're not-
national
But not just the men.
champions.
Not
Not just the
They're
men,
not.
though.
Oh, wait.
men
Before I say,
what?
they're not better. They're just hotter. They got hot at the
Well,
right time.
I mean, they won the championship.
They got hot at the right time.
They
won
won
the
the
championship.
championship.
So you're gonna
But,
tell.
let's
So
move
you're gonna
on
tell.
to
So
the
you're gonna tell me
women's.
Dayton is in the Elite Eight of the whole. What's it called?
Yes.
NCAA.
That's
Dayton-
why they
Yeah.
play the games.
Yeah, exactly.
No. No.
That is why
Oh, so
they play
all right. So
the
hey, all right,
games.
this is gonna hurt you a little. Salt. Jabari Parker.
He did not play the games because
So
his
you're telling
team
me.
lost.
So you're telling me Mercer. So Mercer beats Duke. So that means Mercer's better than Duke.
Yes, that is how sports work.
Oh, okay.
The
So
winning team
so-
is better.
so Mercer would win every game they played against Duke.
Not every time. I never.
How many games- all right, so if Mercer
which
and
team
Duke
was
played-
better, the 1980 Olympic gold medal USA team or the Soviet team? The Soviet team would win 9 times out of 10, according to Herb Brooks, the coach of the USA team. But in that one game,
which is
one
the
game that
matters
mattered.
The game that matters the most.
Yeah,
The game that
the
matters
big
the most.
time.
Is Kevin?
The game that matters the most, they came out and they played better, hands down.
Exactly,
There's no other way you can put it. The one game that mattered the most, they came out and they played better than everyone in the tournament. That's exactly
Yeah, so
what
they got hot.
UConn men do.
They got hot.
And that's exactly what the UConn
And
women
they won the
did.
championship.
The
Yeah,
UConn
exactly.
women, it's not. They should just be a Division II men's team by now.
Okay, they played against another undefeated team.
And
Notre
won by
Dame.
20.
Okay,
It's not even fair.
Should they have made UCLA men's in the 1970s an NBA team?
Yeah.
No. Women's college basketball at this point, I think a good comparison could be made to men's college basketball in the 1970s. You have a few top-heavy teams. You have one team that's above the rest, and you've got certain players like Lou Alcindor, a.k.a. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, when he
Yeah,
played for UCLA,
Right,
like
right.
Brittany Griner for Baylor. You have certain
Yes.
players that really change the game, and maybe we could see women's college basketball getting to a higher level of play coming out of this.
Well, everyone goes to either. They just go to UConn. The best players go to UConn. It's
There's no. Who else would you want to play for besides UConn if you're a
yeah,
star
but-
women's basketball player?
All right, where
why
about-
would you want to play for anywhere
my
else?
point is there will be more higher level talent coming out as UConn, as Notre Dame, as these teams dominate continually. There will be more players trying to compete to be on this level get on the national stage, and then when there's more people trying to get on that national stage, there will be more better players. You'll have more than 12 players trying to go to UConn. You'll have 50 players, and then they have to go to other schools in order to get any playing time.
well, UConn won by 20. Notre Dame was without their leading scorer Natalie Achonwa, Canadian. I'm not very good with pronunciation. You guys know that.
Jonah pronounced Quinnipiac University in Connecticut.
Quinnipiac?
Quinnipiac.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I did that.
I remember early in the year when we were talking about going to that game. He said we're gonna go to watch Cornell versus Quinnipiac play at Liner Rink.
Ha ha ha.
Quinnipiac.
It's Quinnipiac, guys. What are you
It's
talking about? I never
Quinnipiac.
said that. All right, you know what?
Okay.
All right, Natalie Achonwa. She averaged 20.2 points a game. They lost by 20. There it is, tie game. There you go, bada bing. And she also has defensive presence. So maybe Notre Dame could have won that game if they had Natalie out there on the court. She tore her ACL. So just so you guys know.
If you're a women's college basketball player, there's nowhere else you would want to go other than UConn. You want to play for Gino Auriemma. That is the coach you want to play for.
You do want to play for Gino
You
Auriemma.
want to play for Gino
but
Auriemma.
Your parents.
I want to play for Gino Auriemma.
You want to play for Gino Auriemma.
I want to play for the
Gino
UConn women's
Auriemma,
basketball team.
Okay, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story. Let me tell you a story.
Why would you want to play for Gino Auriemma?
Why
He's
wouldn't? Why
cocky. He's overly confident.
He's won 9
cocky.
championships.
The guy's all he does is win. He's 420 and 60 in his career in the regular season.
And
John Wooden was just as good back
I
in
would
the
want
90s.
to play for John Wooden.
Of course you would want to play for John Wooden.
What did
because
you-
he-
Salty.
You wouldn't want to play for
because-
Gino Auriemma.
Salty.
Because he wasn't a cocky.
So
Gino
we win.
Auriemma is not
When we
cocky.
play basketball at the fitness center, we win 5 games in a row and we're cocky. Imagine winning like 9 championships in 420 games. Wouldn't you be cocky?
Not if I
You would be cocky.
personally got the best players. Okay, fine. He's 9-0 in the Final Four.
Come on
I'll
now.
give it to you
Give the
guys. He's
man
the best of the
credit.
best.
Give the
He's
man
not.
credit.
He does.
He is
still.
the best
He
coach in
still
women's
needs.
college
By the way, he's not 9-0 in the Final Four. He's 9-0 in the championship game.
Okay, my bad.
It's all good.
That's
It's all
my
good. It's
bad.
just a correction.
Hey.
Little
That's
something
what
to
we're
work
here
on
for.
for
We're here
next
to
year.
help each other.
Yeah. 'cause-
Try out again, and we'll go with it. No, I'm kidding. But
Sir.
Take another lap. You deserve another lap for that.
so let me tell you a
How
little
do
story.
take
Let me
one
tell you a little
lap,
story.
Though?
Brianna Stewart. Do you guys know who Brianna Stewart is?
I do not know who Brianna Stewart
I do.
is.
You know who she
I
is.
do. I do.
She attended Cicero North Syracuse High School in Syracuse, New York. I live 45 minutes away from there. She was a AA school. I was a AA school.
Yes.
So guess who our women's basketball team played one year?
Blah, blah. I don't care about
She
your
played
high school
Brianna Stewart. Brianna Stewart, even though she's a woman basketball player, she
I
committed.
love women's basketball.
love
don't
women's basketball as
don't.
well.
I'm just saying she's a women's basketball player. She had a line out the door to get pictures with her. I broadcasted the game and I put down my mic and I went and got a picture with Brianna Stewart. My
Okay,
girlfriend,
okay.
Abby, you guys know Abby. She
Yes.
played against Brianna Stewart.
Yes.
And now does
And
she
what'd
play
she
for UConn?
No, Brianna Stewart plays for UConn. Abby was like, this girl's playing for UConn. I'm gonna go get a picture with her after the game. And guess what she did? Like team picture with Brianna Stewart.
And that right
Brianna
there,
Stewart, just by her committing to go to UConn, created so much more of a.
Because UConn's
what's
such a huge, it's a huge name for a
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
say you're gonna play basketball, if you're a women's basketball player and you say I'm gonna go to UConn, that's a big deal. People
that
are gonna
means
flock out to your
you
high
are
school
the
games.
best of the best.
People are
That
gonna
gym
flock
was
out to your
filled.
high school
That
games,
women's
and they're gonna want to watch you play.
Bree Stewart,
People
she played.
Pay to watch you.
She played 2 quarters, the first quarter and the third quarter, because I'm not gonna lie, I think they won by 70. They were they didn't lose a game all year. They were too good. And
I would like to point out another player, an up-and-coming UConn women's basketball player.
yeah, who?
She's out of Ossining, New York, very close to where I'm from, Poughkeepsie, New York.
Okay, why do we keep talking about people that are from
hey,
there
it's
where
a big
we're
deal.
from?
You can get a chance to talk to people that you know that are famous or going to be, once you get your chance. But
You're next. We're
you're
going around
You're
the
right up in
table.
line. We're going to go around the table. But right now, I want to talk about Sania Chong because she is going to make a huge impact for the UConn women's basketball team.
She played a
in the
minute.
next upcoming year.
She made,
She's a freshman. She's a freshman.
Was she good? Did you see her play?
She was very good. She averaged 34.4 points her final season at Ossining High School. She was
Amateur.
All-State, All-American, all everything. She was one of the best basketball players to ever come out of that area. She is the best basketball player to come out of that area.
And she goes to UConn because
she
UConn
plays for
is
UConn.
the school to go to.
So keep an eye out for that name, Sania Chong, because she's going to make a huge impact for the UConn women's basketball team.
I don't know. I've never heard of her. I've never seen her play, but all I know is Brianna Stewart went in as a freshman. And
Young talent.
what'd she do? Oh, she won Final Four MVP. And what'd she do this year? She won Final Four MVP. She can go down as the greatest women's basketball player of all time. And I just think it's really cool. I mean, UConn really adds an aspect. It adds an aspect.
All-time?
Yeah, I think she could be the greatest.
Jonah, that's a big statement.
All-time?
All right, Lisa Leslie.
She scored
Not
over
Jinx
100
Minnesota.
points.
Brittany
And we're back.
Griner.
Brittany Griner, she has the potential. She's one of the top greats.
Who else? Candace Parker. She's pretty good.
There you go.
Diana
Yep.
Taurasi.
Diana Taurasi.
Where did most of these people go though? UConn.
The University of Connecticut.
Because UConn
And this
produces
is-
stars.
This is
Bottom line, they produce stars.
I have a question for you guys. I know Kentucky, I know Kansas have their history, I know Duke has their history, but is UConn the best basketball school there is? They've
This year?
twice. No, hold on. Twice, both the men's and women's teams have won. The men have won 4 championships in the last 12 seasons. The women, they went 40-0 this year. They set the record, the all-time
That's
record
right.
for most wins in a row a few years back. Like, is this the best college basketball program there is in the country?
I think Jonah should take this one first.
The Syracuse fan, by the way.
No.
Why not? This year?
This year? No.
What?
No.
Wow, they won the
No.
tournament. Wow, they
Sir.
won.
They won the tournament.
The
Both their
tournament.
Wow, they
basketball
won the
teams
tournament.
What? You're taking
Wow, they won the tournament. Ooh.
Just because you're
I
a
think
fan
make it
of
sound
someone
like it's
else?
no big deal.
So
They
you're
won
telling
the
me
tournament.
so VCU made it to the Final Four a couple years back?
But
That's,
Yeah, exactly. I got you guys
that means
speechless.
they were one of the best 4 teams
They were
in the
one of the best
country
4
that
teams.
season. And
Oh,
UConn,
This year,
just
UConn
because they
the
got hot.
best in men's and women's.
You're gonna
this
tell me
season.
Because
UConn
it
is one.
matters in
The
the
UConn
tournament.
men are one of the best teams in the nation when they
Yes,
got
yes,
throttled,
yes.
throttled by 40 against Louisville. Throttled.
Yes,
so you're gonna
but they won.
discredit them because of that one game.
I'm not just. They lost to Houston.
Syracuse lost
Who-
to Boston College, and after that,
I'm not talking about
you told
Syracuse.
me the next day that
Yeah.
Syracuse was still one.
BC
Was still
can
I'm not
supposed to
talking-
be number 1 in the country.
We're not talking about Syracuse.
UConn.
We're talking about UConn.
UConn
Well, that was
won the
just- that was a good
national
comparison, though.
championships.
I mean, you look at both teams this year; they both won the championship, and it matters in the tournament. It matters. That's what matters.
And this isn't
Teams
the
get
first
hot in
time
the
both.
tournament.
the men's and
Congratulations to
women's
UConn.
teams
You
have
got
won.
hot at the right time.
Yes,
That's
Who was the best team in college basketball this year?
Who was the best team in college basketball, in my opinion?
In your opinion.
Wait. Do you think it was
or
Florida?
by fact.
Do you
Or
think it
by
was Florida?
fact.
By fact?
Yeah.
You think
Well,
it was Florida?
technically by fact, it'd be Wichita State because they didn't lose a game.
Wichita State did lose a game
All right,
in the
before
tournament.
the tournament.
UConn won the tournament. They were the best team in college basketball.
That's not how I see
Bottom
it.
line. It's the bottom line. They
It's the
got
bottom
hot
line.
at the
If
right
you win the
time,
championship,
and they won the
this
championship.
is how playoffs
which
work,
makes them
and
the best team in college basketball.
no matter what you say about
Both men
playoff
won.
systems in any sport, the NFL, you have to get hot at the right time. The hot
right.
team wins the championship.
That's just the way sports are.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even just
Major
college
League Baseball, the
basketball.
Red Sox got hot in September, carried it over into the postseason.
I just
Listen,
don't think they had the most
they-
complete year.
32-8.
That's a
the math.
strong performance.
32-8. Whenever you win 30 games in college basketball, you could be in the level where you're one of the best teams in college basketball.
So they won 32 games in the championship. I mean,
Yes.
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 So
I think
we
they
can
had
all
a strong
agree-
they had a strong year, but I don't think they were the best. I don't think they were the best.
Okay,
If
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm sorry. This isn't college football. There is no argument over who is the best in college basketball. In college
No.
football, you can make the argument that a certain team should be in the national championship.
But you can make
game.
that argument because in college football, you don't have the playoff.
Exactly, but now
Yeah, I
there
get
will
what
be
you're-
the playoff.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You can't make that argument in college basketball because the best team wins. It's how the
Bottom line.
playoffs work in any sport.
all right, whatever. I'm over it. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna stay with basketball.
Right.
NBA playoffs. This is gonna be a quick one. Quick little touch on this topic. NBA playoffs are coming up.
It's the best time of the year.
Second best.
One of the
I'd
be- one of the
I'd
best,
pick
one of the
NCAA
best,
tournament
one of the
over NBA.
One of the best. I would agree. Yeah, I'd say it's one of the best.
Yeah,
in the top
Pacers.
10.
The Pacers
I'm
are.
sorry. I'm sorry. I have to interrupt. But the best time of the year, number
Christmas?
one, July 11th, my birthday, and number two,
Ooh.
December 25th.
What about
Christmas.
July 13th, my birthday, or
What
July
about
4th?
July 14th?
Yeah, remember.
What about those next few days?
That's really weird that all
I
three of
kind
us are born in
don't-
like consecutive
I kind
days.
of don't like the days after my birthday because
What?
I realize I have to wait 365 or in some years 366 more days until my next
Well,
birthday.
well,
That's a shame.
well, then that.
Well, you should think about your friends.
Well, you should
too.
you should think about your math because you just said 365 days, which is a full year, which would mean your birthday. You'd
Yeah.
have to wait. So,
unless
it'd
it's
be
a leap
300.
year, Jonah.
oh wow,
unless
then
it's
it'd
a
be
leap
July
year.
12th. So, but you said 300 or 366. So if it was 366,
Yeah,
then
blah blah blah
This is why we're
blah
TVR majors.
blah blah
This is why we're
blah.
TVR makers.
Yeah.
We don't know math. We don't know
So-
math.
So-
We just know how to use technology and talk.
All right,
on
so
microphones.
what were you gonna say about the NBA playoffs?
Pacers. The Pacers are. They're not doing so hot.
I agree.
I'm not allowed to
Paul
use them.
George has been looking shaky
I-
last few weeks.
Here's my
Paul
Did
George
anyone
is
anyone
looking
see
shaky.
that? Anyone see the Pacers fan that put up the Craigslist ad looking for Paul George's talent? I thought that was pretty funny.
See, here's what I'm gonna tell you about Indiana. Here's
What are you
I'm
gonna What are you gonna
say.
tell What are you gonna tell me about
Let's hear it.
Indiana?
I have a couple things. One, Paul George played above his level. We thought he was making the step to be one of the top players in the league.
Oh, he's still doing great. He's just in a
He's
just in a rough patch.
regressing to the mean a little bit. That doesn't mean he's not good. That means he could get hot.
It's
for
it's
the
his third
playoffs.
year in the league. You have to. It's nothing to worry
Here's
about.
my other point, though. Larry Bird, the president of the Indiana Pacers,
Seems like he's been
he
ripping
said,
that team.
He said, "I'm not worried about our locker room chemistry." When he traded Evan Turner, he traded for Evan Turner. He traded Danny Granger. He added Andrew Bynum. And since those moves have been made, the Pacers have not looked like the same team that they were. And I'm questioning whether it's chemistry issues because, as we saw, Lance Stevenson early in the season was fantastic. As soon as they start talking about All-Star break, then Lance Stevenson starts
Fell off
stepping
the face
down.
of the
He
earth.
Fells off because he has in his mind, I'm an all-star level player. These
Right,
guys
right.
are starting to play me, not we, and that's what is causing trouble for this Indiana
They
Pacers.
also-
There's a good chance where they're going to pick it up in the playoffs.
Oh, there's
I agree.
definitely a good chance
There's a good
because
chance. There's no team that I see in the Eastern Conference that's going to beat the Pacers or the Heat.
It's gonna be Pacers Heat again.
I don't
I've
think
got,
anybody
Pacers
should
one,
beat
I've
Pacers
got
or Heat.
one pick. You never count
The
out
Bobcats are not
Paul
going to beat the Pacers.
Pierce, Kevin Garnett in the postseason, especially
I would like
when
to
they
agree
have
with that.
the talent
Hey,
of
hey,
Darren
listen,
Williams,
listen.
Joe Johnson on their team.
Listen. The 4-5 matchup is most likely going to be the Nets Bulls again.
Yes.
Nets should easily
Yeah.
win that.
Well, we said that last year.
The
Yeah.
Bulls always
Said that
come
last
But the
year.
Nets,
See, this
the
is-
Nets
Bulls
are the
always
Nets
a
are on a
well-coached
roll.
team, and they always have good. They don't have any star players on their
And
roster
they
right now.
play-
They're very good very good players, and they play together.
They play together. That's
But
the point right
but
there.
all right, so say the Nets win. Just say the Nets win. Heat win. Heat beat the 8th seed of whoever it's going to be, probably the Bobcats. Ooh, tough matchup in the first round. Heat beat the Bobcats.
You know that could actually be a tough matchup.
It's the
I'm
Bobcats.
kidding.
The Bobcats.
Well, right
That's
now
the
the
big
Bobcats are the
three.
7th.
Who's the 8th, Rahamba? Who's the 8th?
Atlanta.
Right now it's Atlanta,
Oh,
but
okay.
the New York Knicks are making
Yeah.
a run at that.
All right.
8th
Right
seed.
now, Charlotte, the Bobcats are 39-38, and Atlanta's 34-43.
Okay, so it's probably going to be.
So there's a good chance that
It's gonna be
Atlanta's going to
either
slide.
Atlanta
It's gonna be
or
Atlanta.
New
You
York.
never know. The Knicks could even slide in with
The
that
Knicks
8
could
seed. They're one. They're,
All right, so- all right,
they're
so-
33-45 right now. The
Say
Knicks.
the
the
Nets
Knicks going.
say the Nets and the
But
Heat
they're not gonna
match
beat
up
the
in the 1-4 second round matchup. Nets swept the season series of the Heat last night. Marshall Plumlee, Mason,
Mason Plumlee.
whatever.
with
One of
a
the Plumlees
block
from
and a
Duke. They all
half
went to
at the end
Duke.
of
They
that
all look
game.
the same.
They did.
He had that huge block. LeBron's foul. No, it wasn't a foul. It was a clean block. LeBron.
I'm tired of LeBron crying.
It
after
was
calls.
it was not.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was not a foul. It was a clean block. Just give the kid a credit. You're in the playoffs. You have the best chance of winning third straight title. Just let it go. Let the kid have his moment.
All right.
But listen. When we look ahead, after the playoffs are all said and done, when we get to the finals, who do you guys see coming out of the East and coming out of the West playing for that NBA title?
All right.
All right, so I'll go for it.
My pick for the East, I hate to say it, but I cannot go against the Miami Heat no matter what's
agree.
going on with their
I
team.
agree.
Disagree.
They are still at the level. They are still at that top level. It's
Still top of the
LeBron
Eastern
James.
What do you
the
guys
best
have in the
player
West?
the
What do you
league.
guys have in the West?
I'm getting there. I was going
Okay.
first.
Okay.
I'm sorry that I decided I want to explain my opinion a little bit,
But
Jonah.
Sorry, Salt.
All right, going over to the West though, that's a
Sassy.
sassy Salt, not salty Steve anymore.
Sassy Steve.
All right.
Sassy Steve.
Sassy Steve.
All right, so let's go over to the West.
Let's do it.
I look at a few different teams. Oklahoma City, they've been too inconsistent, but they still have Kevin Durant. You've got the Houston Rockets, who don't play defense. You've got the Clippers, coached by Doc Rivers, who also don't play much defense. But I'm gonna have to go with, once again, the top scorer in the league, Kevin Durant. He's unbelievable, and I really think this Thunder team can make it all the way to the finals.
All right, Jonah, who do you got?
Well, in the East, I can't pick against the Pacers. They started off hot. Yes, they're going slow down the stretch, coasting to the end. But Paul George, you have Andrew Bynum too. You have Evan Turner, the former number 2 pick of the 76ers. Then you have Paul George, Lance Stevenson, George Hill, Luis Scola too. He's a great scorer. You have a lot of people and a lot of pieces that if you come together at the right time, like we said earlier, if you come together at the right time, like UConn did. UConn came together, they got hot. Pacers can come together, get hot, and they can. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm not saying the Pacers are the best. I just think they'll come together and they can roll through the East.
What about the West? What about the West?
Yeah, who do
Spurs.
you got?
Spurs.
The
Wow,
Spurs?
really? The Spurs.
But
They're
you were
unstoppable.
I'm sorry. You were just saying getting hot at the right time. The Spurs went on a 19-game winning streak. Could you say that they peaked a little early this
I
year?
could say they could peak a little early, but it's great. It's Popovich, it's Duncan, it's Parker, it's Ginobili.
I just think I've learned
It's-
over the years you can't bet against the San Antonio
Yeah.
Spurs. Not necessarily making it to the finals, but just in the playoffs, the way they have been, the way they played over the past.
It's gonna be
over the
tough.
years,
It's gonna be that
You just
Spurs.
don't bet against the Spurs.
I mean, that West is tough. You have the Spurs, you have the Thunder, you have the Rockets, like you said, the Clippers. You have a lot of
There's
people
so
out
many
there.
Teams, even Portland is good.
Yeah. Oh,
Even-
Right,
jeez.
yeah, Portland has a
Phoenix.
chance.
Phoenix,
is
if they get
coming
the
on
8
strong.
seed, if
Well,
they're
For,
go Rambo.
for me right now, looking at the East, you guys said the Pacers, they haven't been playing to their potential as of late, but I see them getting hot at the right time, as UConn did.
Ha.
LOL.
Hey,
LOL.
yo.
I see the Indiana Pacers. I feel like they're the most complete team in the Eastern Conference.
But you just said
as
you said you can't pick against the Heat like
but
5 minutes ago.
yeah, I did say that, but when you look at them in the long run, I think the Pacers are going to be the team. Really,
So you're
getting hot
changing
at
your
the right
story
time.
on us, Rahamba.
I'm switching my story up.
He's
on you
he's
guys.
siding with
Switching
me.
my story up on you guys.
No, but
Mark
first,
that
listen,
one down.
Listen, LeBron James, he's a great player, but I just feel like the Pacers have the more complete team.
All right.
I'm
Go
not
out
saying
west.
I'm not saying you bet against I'm not saying the Heat in the finals. I'm just saying you don't bet against them.
hey, wait, we
you
forgot.
know,
Well,
that
first
going
before
around.
before Hema goes, Golden State.
Yeah, wow, we forgot about
They're
them.
in the sixth
Yeah,
spot.
but who's
Well,
your
the Western Conference? You know, you got the Spurs, you got the Thunder, Clippers. I say you have
Rockets.
6 solid teams that have the potential.
You have 8 solid teams. Phoenix, number 8 seed, 46 and 31. They could
I
go.
don't see it. I don't see them or
There
Dallas.
are 8 teams
If-
in the West
listen
that
to
are
this,
I
listen
don't
to
see
this.
them or Dallas doing it.
Phoenix is the 8th seed in the West, 46
Right.
and 31.
Right.
That record would put them in 3rd in the Eastern Conference.
There's 8 teams in the West that could be at the level of anybody besides Indiana and Miami in the Eastern Conference.
But for
Yeah.
me right now,
Yes.
I see the 5 seeded right now, Portland Trailblazers coming out, and I feel like they can make a run at the NBA Finals. I feel like
Wow.
they're a great team.
bold pick.
Well, it's not really bold when you look at it because they have LaMarcus Aldridge, they have Damian Lillard. You have a very solid group of solid core players on that roster, and I feel like they have the potential to make it to the finals. This year.
The thing is about Portland is they came out really strong. Like I respect that pick. I think it's bold. I respect it.
I don't think
they
it's
came out
bold.
strong early
I
in
mean,
the season.
The Western
and they've been
Conference is
tailing
just so
off.
tough.
It is.
I agree.
it
They would be a
is.
3 seed in the Eastern Conference.
They probably would be better than that if they were in the Eastern Conference because they'd
Yeah.
be playing easier schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean,
You can't,
yeah.
You can't, you
I'm just
can't
gonna say
predict like
yeah.
that. Let's
No,
let's
but
take
the 2 and 3 seeds in the Western Conference would be number 1 seeds right now in the Eastern Conference. So
Houston
that
would be
just says
close.
how bad the Eastern Conference has been this year.
Yeah.
They haven't been
It's
fun to watch.
atrocious. It's atrocious. It's all about the West.
Speaking about a league with an inequality between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference, let's take a quick look at hockey. They're also nearing the end of their season.
To the
NHL.
ice. To the ice.
To the ice.
Doing this one for the Bucci Maine.
All right, so we've got. Let's just like
Bucci overtime challenge.
break it down a little bit. Eastern
Yeah,
Conference.
let's do it. Let's break
Boston
it
Bruins took
Yeah.
off near the end of the season. They're far and away
Yeah,
highest
they're-
in the standings.
Oh,
in
they
the
are.
East.
They
You
ran
also
away
have
with
the
it.
Pittsburgh Penguins. You
Yeah,
go
they're
out to the
close.
West though. There's so many teams right at that same level.
Top to bottom is really solid in the West. You got the Blues, 1 to 8. Blues, Ducks, Avalanche, Sharks, Blackhawks, Kings in 6. My LA Kings in 6th.
When did you say the Blackhawks? Was that the 5th?
Yeah, 5th.
They won the Stanley Cup last
Yeah,
year, and
yeah.
they were really good this
I
year.
mean,
45 and 19 right now.
yeah.
They're a great team.
Dallas,
They're a phenomenal team,
39.
and they always have been over the past few years.
8 spot, Dallas, Phoenix. It's probably going to go to Dallas, but it's a deep one out there in
Listen, right
the
now,
Western
I think
Conference.
when you look at the Eastern Conference, I think the top 2 teams are the 2 teams that are going to potentially come out there and play in the Stanley Cup final.
Pittsburgh and Boston.
I don't think right now there's a team that is going to play at the level at Pittsburgh or Boston.
Yeah,
could
but you
potentially
have
play.
to you have to remember the Rangers just got St. Louis. He can
yeah,
put
but
the puck in the back of that.
I think
Tampa
that-
Bay,
but the
Tampa
I'm
Bay
a
sliding.
Rangers fan, but
Stamkos is
listen.
back.
I think that the Rangers lost some of their identity
Yeah, the
after
Rangers
that trade.
lost a lot of what they've
After
been doing
losing
over the
Ryan
past few years.
Callahan.
You know, they played under a guy in John Tortorella who liked to play physical hockey, wear those guys down. But they really switched that completely over the past year. They're a more offensive style team. And I just feel like right now, from what I've seen, it hasn't been much to make me say that, the Rangers are going to come out and they're going to play in the final.
Boston's come. There's no way Boston can't come out of the East unless Crosby does what he did in the Olympics a couple years back and saves the day.
Here's what I see.
Crosby is the
Sidney
best player in the National Hockey League.
Sidney Crosby tends not to do too well against the Bruins
Sidney
because
Crosby is the best
because
player in the National Hockey
okay, well we can argue that all
could
day,
argue that
but
all
we're
day,
gonna
yes.
focus just on the big teams for now. You've got Boston. I think the winner of the East has to go into the TD Garden and beat the Bruins there in a 7-game series.
Salt, are you in from Boston?
I'm a fan, I'll admit it, but I'm looking objectively at it, and the Boston Bruins are the best team in the East.
I
When
agree.
you go
I
out
agree.
west,
I
though-
agree.
Really, when you look at
I
it.
agree. I just wanted to mess with you a little bit.
All right, thank you.
He's
Thank
acted like he's from Boston.
But what about the West? What about the West?
The West, though,
What
there's
about the
so
West?
many teams that are at that same
You got
level.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5
I got a
teams
surprise
over
pick.
100 points.
I got a surprise
Who's,
pick.
who's your surprise pick in the West?
The Avalanche come out of the West.
The Avalanche.
The Avalanche.
109 points on the season,
I can see it.
51 wins.
The
They've
Avalanche
done
come out of the
very
West.
well.
Patrick Waugh at the head of the bench, the coach. Second year, first year? He's new. I don't know which year he's in, but he's new.
Jonah, can I test your hockey knowledge?
Yeah, you can.
How do you spell Wah?
Waugh. R-O-Y.
Good job.
Thank you.
You also got to look at Matt Duchene, too. 70 points now for the team. of
And their
Colorado,
goalie,
leading the way at center position.
Simon Varlamov, he got over that early incident in the beginning of the year where he got
Right.
accused for assaulting his girlfriend, got over that. He's really just led the Avalanche to a playoff berth. I mean, he's anchored
Right,
them
right.
in the back. So Patrick Waugh Patrick Waugh is arguably one of the greatest goalies of all time. Do you guys agree?
So let's.
Do you guys agree?
Yes,
I think
that's a
I
statement.
think he took Samoin Varlamov under his wing, said, "You do this, you do this." Practice with him, made him the goalie that he is today, and Samoin Varlamov is going to carry.
I gotta go with Chicago in the West, though.
So you have Salty out of the West. You have Chicago. Who do you have coming out of the East?
I have Boston. I have a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals.
All right, Jonah. Who do you got?
I have Boston, Colorado. Who do you got, Rahemba?
Out of the West, I have the Anaheim Ducks. I have the Anaheim Ducks, the 2 seed, 110 points right now. They've been arguably one of the top teams in the National Hockey League. I feel like they have the potential to come out there, the Western Conference, and really make a run at the Stanley Cup Final. And then in the East, I have the Pittsburgh Penguins. I feel like right now they're just too good. They're playing on another level. Sidney Crosby leading the way. I feel like it's gonna be.
Actually,
I feel like they're gonna come out.
I'm gonna alter my pick a little bit.
All right, what's your alteration?
Well, right now it's Colorado versus LA in the first round matchup, 3-6. Whoever wins that game will go to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Okay.
Whoever wins that game.
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah, LA's solid. Kopitar, the best player in the NHL. Jonathan, no, I'm kidding. He's just really
That's
good.
disrespectful.
Jonathan
to
Quick.
Players.
Jonathan Quick, Ithaca native Dustin Brown. You can't forget him.
There
He's
you go.
he's a
Maybe we
great.
can get him on the podcast.
Ooh, maybe him.
Maybe we try it.
That'd be cool.
Salty, can you contact his agent for us?
I have contact information with many people, but Dustin Brown's agent is not one of them.
Who do you have contact information with?
A lot of people.
Give me one name.
Those people.
Oh, those
people.
You know what?
out
I'm
there.
gonna change it. I got Buffalo coming out of the East. I got Buffalo coming.
no,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Buffalo,
Buffalo,
the
Edmonton
worst,
in the final,
the
right?
worst team in the league.
Edmonton. I don't know what their deal is. I just don't know what their deal is.
They're just a team without a cause.
They're just Canadian.
They're just a bunch of individual players who are really good.
I didn't mean to
At
take
hockey.
a shot at Canada. I actually
you
love
did.
Canada.
Canada's one of my
Never
favorite
been to
places to
Canada?
travel.
I've
never been to
I've
Canada.
never been to
Well,
Canada.
you're missing out because Canada is fantastic. Canada is awesome.
Okay, just
Well,
because you live in Canada, Jonah.
All right, I basically live in Canada.
Yeah, he basically does.
He lives
So you
on
go
Lake
that's close
Ontario.
enough to Canada.
It's whatever. All right, so what's your Stanley Cup final matchup?
My Stanley, I said it already.
Oh, he said it. I was
Are
not.
you even
I was,
listening to?
We
Do you,
all said it.
Jonah? Do you even
Do you
listen
even
to what I
listen?
say?
What's the
No,
point
honey.
of doing
Wha-
this show?
No,
why,
honey, we're over.
Why do I do this if you won't listen to me?
Salt,
God.
don't go to the door.
Yeah,
Don't
Salt,
Salt,
walk out
sit
the door,
sit
Salt.
back down.
Sit down.
Sit back
Sit down.
down.
Sit down, Salt.
You guys, you know what time?
Get it
You
all
know
worked
you know
out.
what it's time for? It's time for Rahemba's grinding your gears. Rahemba,
No, it's not time for Rahemba's grinding your gears.
Really?
what's
It's
it time
not.
for?
Really?
It's time for Salty's grinding your gears. I'm taking over.
Who do you think you are?
I do what
Who
I
do you think
want.
you are, Salty?
I
Salty,
think
Salty,
I am
Salty.
me.
Where do you get off?
I don't. What?
Where do you
I-
get
What?
off? Where do you get off? You guys ever heard
Get
that before?
off.
Where do you get off?
Where do you, I've
You guys-
never heard of
you
that
guys
before.
Never heard that
No,
before.
I've
never
heard
heard
that
it.
before.
You've never.
That
He
is
gets off-
commonly
He
He
used.
gets off the TCAT at the Roy H. Park School of Communications and walks up to Roland Hall. Or he parks the Man Van Z lot. One of the two.
I do what I want, and what I want to do right now is grinding your gears.
All right, what do you want to do? Go for it.
So,
I know what's coming.
as we all know, the NCAA tournaments, plural, the 2 tournaments ended this week. We talked about it a lot with UConn.
Men and women's, yes.
Here's what I got to say about it.
What do you got to say?
The NCAA, $11 billion over 14 years, a TV deal between Turner Broadcasting, CBS, and the NCAA. That's a big amount of money. The schools, UConn, by winning the national championship, they got thousands of more applicants and a lot of money.
A lot of money.
Kevin Ollie, the coach of UConn, love the guy. He is going to get a big pay raise from that. Shabazz Napier,
Yeah.
he gets a trophy. Boatwright, he gets a trophy.
And free
Daniels,
education.
he gets a
Free doubles
trophy.
application.
They don't even get the trophy. They just get a ring. FYI.
Yeah, exactly. This is a problem in our society, and that's what is grinding my gears. The fact that the NCAA is
Yes.
taking advantage of these players and not giving them these players aren't players. They're not student athletes. They're employees of the NCAA,
Student
a
athletes.
quote-unquote non-profit organization,
Yes.
and they take advantage of these players to make revenue, and that is unfair to these players in this college basketball tournament.
You've been talking
that's all
about
I
this
have to
forever.
say.
You've been talking about this
You've been
forever.
waiting to get that off your chest. I respect it. Yeah.
So I just had to get that off my chest. That's why I interrupted Rahemba. I know it's not what I know you had something. I always know you had
I actually
something.
didn't.
So you're welcome.
So that actually works out pretty
But
well.
Did you prepare for something else, Rahemba?
Actually, no, I didn't even prepare for a top 3.
Oh.
So
I prepared for a top 3.
Did you
too.
really?
No,
So-
I did not.
yeah,
Just
well,
kidding.
none of us have a
Okay,
top 3.
no, I have a top 3.
You have a top 3.
I have a top
What is
3.
your top 3?
My top 3 favorite people in the world.
Hey.
At number 3, Jonah Vestuccio. At number 2, Matt Rahemba. And at number 1, Salty Steve, myself.
Oh!
Get
Low
at
blow
me,
to
producer Pete.
Oh.
Pete, is Pete coming out of that producer room? Is Pete
Oh,
coming in the room? Nope, he's not.
Okay.
He's
All right,
just
well-
threatening to.
So Salty took over the top 3 and the Grind Your Gears.
Saul
They should-
just wanted to feel good about himself today.
See, this is a good example right here. You guys should pay me more for doing more
We don't
work.
get paid.
So
Oh,
we do this
wait,
for
you won't pay me more.
No, we won't.
Like the NCAA won't pay
Oh,
its
stop.
athletes.
Oh, stop.
Salt, we're college kids doing a podcast.
I know.
We interviewed Carl Ravitch, Chris McCullough, and
I'm
Andrew
not
Marchand.
complaining. It was a bit of a stretch to compare the two. It was a major stretch.
So you know what? Go take another lap.
Fine.
Go take a lap. And while Salty's going to take a lap, we're going to end this podcast. Thank you so much to ESPN New York senior writer Andrew Marchand for coming on the show, taking some time out.
Yep.
I know
Thank
he's
you.
really busy.
Thank
you.
you.
He's writing about the Yankees.
There's
all
a
that
game
stuff.
tonight. He took his time.
He took his time out to come on the show, and it's always great to talk to an Ithaca College alum. But once again, for our producer Pete, for Salty Steve Altieri,
For Jonah Vestuccio, I'm just gonna say it myself. I'm just gonna say it myself.
Okay, do you want to say your name again?
Jonah Vestuccio.
Say it a little bit louder.
Jonah Vestuccio.
Vestuccio and Matt Rahemba. Thank you so much for listening to the SC16 podcast, and make sure to tune in next week for some more of that good stuff.
Yeah, some of that good.
Some of that good stuff, baby. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Really appreciate it.